Yeah, there you go. We're live now.
All righty, good morning, everyone.
And we become quiet as shit.
Okay.
What's up?
I think we were wondering, do we continue the original conversation thread or kick it off?
I don't know.
Something else?
Is it worthwhile, or should we start something new?
Probably start something new.
All right.
Yeah, and do that.
All right. So I don't know. We got lots of shit we can chop up today. There's actually this thing that I want to try out with this new link over here. Hang on, I gotta mute that. So apparently I've got this Q&A button. I don't even know how it works, but it says start Q&A, answer viewers' questions live. So I'll try that more towards the end of the show. I mean, you guys can still, chat or super chat or whatever to ask questions that we can talk about. But we were gonna, I guess, let's sort of kick off with. Well, I mean, you guys know Jaron and Moff. We got a couple of new guys on today. HG, I guess we'll just call him H. Yeah, we'll just call him H. What does that stand for, HG?
I just reversed HG on the keyboard.
Oh,
Preparation
okay, so
H.
Preparation H.
No, we gotta think of something a little sexier than that.
Okay. All right.
I woke up with these crazy bags under my eyes. I don't know why. I ate really well last night, got a good night's sleep, but I remember my bodybuilding coach years ago. He's like, "Oh yeah, you put Preparation H on it. It just fucking just brings everything in."
You know what I heard is up with baggy eyes, because I get them too sometimes, is your kidney function is lower and you're retaining water, and that's a place in your body that you actually stash water, so that's why they get puffy.
That makes sense.
Total sense.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of caffeine. That'll do it.
Yeah.
Dehydrate
And then we got
ya.
Dragos from Eastern Europe, my homeboy from the Biz Forum. Known him for quite a few years. So you'll see guys like pass in and out of these general shows. Most of our crew wants to stay anon, or mostly anon, just because of the line of work they're in, the sort of stuff that they do, and we want to be able to tap into their resources in the community rather than not. So,
well, Jaron just dropped.
well, did he? No, he'll come back. He'll come back. All right, so let me throw this up on the screen, because this is this clip here on the Sam goofball and what happened this week with FTX, because I think it's a decent topic to sort of kind of kick off on here. So let's go present, share screen, Chrome tab.
I actually met a guy down here who runs investment funds, and he called this 24 hours before it happened.
All right, well, I mean, like, the point that I wanted to make here, I mean, this is a 2-minute clip, so let's just watch it. We're sort of throw some commentary on it, but I mean, like, this is people are always asking for feedback on like current events and like, what's going on with business sort of stuff. And this is your typical, beta male soy boy with a gut and man tits and, goofball sort of thing. And he's trying to sell you like the dream of, I'm going to save the world. And he hasn't even, saved himself and become the best version of himself. So let's just check this out.
But Sam is not a traditional billionaire because he believes in the concept.
Did you guys ever see this guy's girlfriend, by the way?
No, I need to see it.
Oh, hang on a second.
Unfortunately, I have.
Let's lead with that.
You go one or two ways, right?
Okay, you guys want to lead with his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Over under on if she's hot or not.
I'm going to say yes. He has $1 billion. I'm going to say yes.
I remember Eric dropped the image of her, and he was like, this guy's worth $2 billion, and he's hitting this. Hang on, let's see if I can find a picture.
She needs to be sent to Ukrainian boot camp.
She wouldn't qualify, She wouldn't qualify. They would like send her to the war.
Is she a truck stop hooker or something, or like she super smashed out?
Hang on a second. Just to sort of like, frame, who the guy is. Share screen, window, Chrome tab. Okay, so this is guy's worth $2 billion, and this is what he's hitting. All right, so
looks like a Pixar character.
Well, I guess every pot has its lid, sort of thing, right?
They definitely met playing some video game somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
More than likely. Okay, so let's go back to this clip here of our buddy Sam and his little scam.
Is not a traditional billionaire because he believes in the concept of earn to give, which means his goal as a human is to make as much money as possible just to give it away. Earn to give. And that's exactly what he's doing.
So let's say that you have $100 and you want to figure out.
Dude sounds like he's got the T level of like a 13-year-old girl with that vocal tone.
What you can do with it to help the world. Earning to Give is thinking about which causes, which charities save the most lives per dollar. This $100 can go as far as it possibly can to help the world.
Last year, this 29-year-old guy
What did he rip everybody off for again? Wasn't it to the tune of billions?
The FTX exchange?
Yeah.
The guy was trying to explain to me that I met. Apparently, it's just like they raised all this fake money. I don't know it well enough, and then they went bankrupt.
Dragos, you're like big in the crypto space. What's your take on it?
What they did is that they grew through an investment from Binance, and then they bit the hand that fed them. The mechanism through which they collapsed the market is that they couldn't, like, they had their own token, which is called FTT, and they pumped that up, but because they could not monetize it by selling it, they loaned against it. So
it's a liquidity issue.
So what they did is that they put the funds that they took as a loan in Alameda Research to use it for trading, for further raising the price of FTT and doing some other shit. And this is how they basically leveraged themselves.
All right.
donated $50 million. Next year, he's planning to donate $500 million a year. And next decade, he will probably give away more than $10 billion.
The amount of good that you can do for the future of the world is really large, and it's way more than you can do to actually make yourself happy with anything like that amount of money.
And he is funding everything you can think of. Global warming.
It's one of the biggest problems that we have to tackle together as a world.
COVID-19 preparedness.
We have to be ready for the next pandemic.
Look at him sitting there with a mask in his hand. Like, I'll tell you right now, anybody that's gullible enough to have fallen for this after the evidence became clear within 90 to 120 days that it wasn't that big of a deal, it's just, I mean, you just can't trust these people.
Neglected tropical diseases.
More than 1 billion people suffer from them. We have to eliminate these diseases.
And of course, animal welfare.
Animals deserve to live just like we do. It's
Look,
also
hold
why
on,
I'm
look at the
vegan.
soy milk in the background. Did you see that? Go
Of
back.
course.
Hang on, he's got soy milk in there? Oh, yeah. It's also why I'm vegan.
And look at all that
I'm so
juice.
vegan.
Pure sugar, soy
Yeah.
juice.
Sugar.
Yep.
Also why I'm vegan.
Sam doesn't need the money to buy a Lamborghini or to buy a Rolex or to impress his friends. In fact, his car is a Toyota Corolla.
Wow, so strong and brave.
Hold on. Where's your car?
It's that one there.
That's like what, a Toyota?
Why do these guys always have backpacks on? I've always wondered that. Like, what do you keep in the backpack that you have to walk around with all the time for these video clips? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Corolla.
Why don't you buy a Lamborghini, man?
I didn't have any particular need for one.
He wants
Well, you don't have any need for one if you don't have nuts, right?
to get rich in order to impact the world and change it. But
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. That's, you know, I don't know. Do you guys trust guys like this? Because I've never thrown money at people like this. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I would not give that guy my money
No.
for anything. I think he's full of shit.
I always
I
look
will
for
trust
seasoned
him to
men.
do his job.
Was that Dragos?
I would trust him to do his job if he was employed to deals that was worth it.
I'd definitely drink a Starbucks coffee if you make it for me.
Accentuates the tits nicely. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got great coffee making skills, so he can always, you know, figure out something to do. But maybe one day I'll run into him at a Starbucks.
He needs a
Did you know
job.
he ran away with his private jet to Argentina, I think?
Oh, is that what happened? He actually fled?
And and there's this discussion that the hack that's happening right now on FTX is from an insider, and it's actually supported by him.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's right. I just saw something from Nick on that. Hold on. There's an article. Apparently, this is going to tumble further.
The exchange went bankrupt, and they had more liabilities than they had equity, but they still had some money in the exchange. And now it was hacked away, and also drawn by Bahamian citizens, and now the whole exchange is at zero.
So this article was just posted 9 minutes ago, or sorry, 9 minutes before we launched. So within the last 20 minutes. Title says FTX is investigating a potential hack amid bankruptcy filings. More than 400 million worth of crypto funds appear to be missing.
About 600.
That's not good for the market. That is going to probably force it to tumble a little further.
How big
You
was
want
that?
to know something else that's interesting?
What's that?
Crypto.com.
Oh, don't
pretty
tell me.
big, right? They have 20% of their equity in Shiba Inu.
Crypto.com has 20% of their holdings in Shiba.
Yeah,
The exchange does, or the people on the exchange?
they exchange.
Oh, come on. Don't tell me that. I was all in on CRO.
Take a look. Don't believe me. Search.
Really? Well, look, I mean, Shiba's probably got a brighter future than most, if we're being honest. Just because Elon Musk talks about it all the time, and anything he talks about, people buy, right? But yeah, we'll see how that unfolds. But guys, like these centralized exchanges, you should never leave more than like a tiny percentage of your crypto portfolio on them. Like I know they offer some yield levels, but even right now the yield levels are quite low. Like the max yield that you're going to get is on 1/10 of a Bitcoin usually, like 1/10 of whatever. So there's no point in keeping anything on this. I mean, the market's volatile. There's guys that are saying that this is probably going to go down lower, maybe as low as 10 to 12. I've heard other guys say 7 to 8. If it stays stabilized for the next few weeks, and maybe this is the bottom, and it just keeps going sideways for a bit, but it's going to be a bit before all this volatility sorts itself out. But this is where we are. Speaking of Elon Musk, what do you guys think of his Twitter acquisition?
I was just going to say he should accept Shiba Inu for the $8 a month thing, and that's how we can boost the value of it.
Yeah, or maybe he'll offer like a discount and say pay in Shiba, and you get your blue check for 5 or something like that. But that whole like verification system doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, people are going to pay for it just because it's $8 and they get a blue check mark, and you get the thing that I like about it is you can upload longer videos. So I could potentially take the videos that I make for my channel and upload them over there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's native on the platform, because whenever you link to a video on YouTube on something like Twitter, they don't give it the same reach that you'll get if you natively upload it to the site. So that's really the only thing that I'm interested in. But I checked and I couldn't do it because you can only do it on iOS right now. They haven't made it available for browser or for Android.
I wonder if he's going to come out
being
with
abused.
levels.
What's that, Dragos?
It's already being abused.
Yeah, like you'll get people paying $8 on some wacky fucking credit card and wacky account that'll still troll.
Yeah, they kind of made it like some dirt on this insulin production company. They made a fake Twitter account saying that insulin would be free, and the stock for that particular company dropped.
Well, if anybody's going to fix social media, it'll be Elon Musk. I don't trust Zuck or anybody else to do it.
The robots.
How many people did he end up firing? Something like 50% of the staff?
It was a large chunk.
Yeah.
Something like 3,700, right? It's fairly
They couldn't
sizable
fire
now.
more because it would have been hard to keep operating with less than half.
Let me check here. Hold
But
on.
more are going to be changed.
How many Twitter staff?
Yeah, half, maybe 35,000.
Hang on, who did we lose? Who the hell did we lose? Oh, okay. Well, he'll click when he comes back. 3,700 people from Twitter. Almost half. It says over here, almost half its staff. Is that all they have? I thought
That's
they had
not
like
that large of a company.
Well,
You'd think
7,000,
they'd have more.
I thought they had 20,000 employees for some reason, but laying off half the staff. Well, that's what you need to do.
Well, they're not as like complex as YouTube or anything. I don't think they need as many coders or.
From what I understand, Musk is planning on making it more than just like microblogging, because that's what Twitter was set up as initially, was a microblog site.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand, the way that he's been talking about it is there's going to be more offerings. I mean, even with the blue check system, you've got access to upload longer videos. Your tweets show towards the top if it's a at reply. So that's okay.
Maybe you can turn into a YouTube competitor.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool because
what's the other one? Rumble that they were trying to do. It's just not as functional. It's hard to navigate.
Yeah, there's Rumble.
The UI UX
there's all those other
sucks.
ones. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's like super geeks like Elon Musk that'll fix stuff like this, I think. All right, let me grab this YouTube link over here and see if I can make this.
Twitter just applied for becoming a money transferring
Payment processing?
I'm not sure if it's money transfers or payment processing. It's like they mean different things in different parts of the world.
He's going back to his roots.
They all technically kind of do that. I always remember that when I look at my Apple Pay, thinking, well, this money's sitting in a balance somewhere. Apple's technically a bank across this entire user base that has who knows what in their Apple Pay account. I think all these companies are doing it.
Elon started PayPal, right? That was his first thing.
He was one of the founders, yeah.
Along
with Peter Thiel and a bunch of the other PayPal squad. All right, so I don't know how this works. I just want to try this out to see what it does in the chat. But there's an option to go start Q&A. So I'm going to go starting Q&A go. I'll put that in there, and I don't know what that even does in the chat. I don't know if you guys ask questions to that list or how that works, but I just put it in there so you guys. I guess we'll figure it out. Those of you watching live right now, we'll figure it out. You guys can ask your questions and give us a topic to sort of hit on. Anything else?
You get a comment on this James Green who posted about the Iraqi dinar thing.
What's this?
Do you see in the comments somebody was saying something about the Iraqi dinar, the Vietnamese dong?
You guys got any intel on the possible Iraqi dinar or Vietnamese dong reevaluation?
This was such a like 10 years ago. I had someone like this, like crazy client of mine, like wacko. She's like, you got to buy the Iraqi dinar. It's going to reevaluate. It's going to be worth 15 times more than what it is right now. You could buy like $250,000 notes for like $30 or whatever. And she was convinced she was going to retire on it. And that was 15 years ago. So I'm laughing that it's still like it's like the scam is still going. Later.
Look, if there's a promise for 15x of anything, I can promise you Bitcoin will probably do better than the Iraqi dinar.
Yeah, there's like a whole. These people sell a whole story. It's really funny.
It's nuts. No, I don't know anything about that. I've never heard that.
I think I have 3 million Iraqi dinar somewhere, just waiting.
Yeah.
There's nothing fundamentally going on with the economy of Iraq that can manifest those kind of gains.
Yeah, I would not be investing any money in Iraq or Iran. I mean, look, unless you're building infrastructure and you're one of these big contracts that makes billions of dollars, I don't know. I mean, it's too much, whatever. How's things going, Moff? You've been quiet so far. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, man. No, things are pretty nuts right now, actually. Just got a couple of different things I'm trying to get off the ground. So, dude, I'm loving Elon on Twitter. I think it's become way more fun than it's ever been. I think that's a lot of people are going on there for entertainment and watching him actually interact and like clap back.
He's such a troll.
Things like that. Yeah, he really is. Like at his core, like that's. But what's really, really interesting is he's always been this way. And if you like, every now and then somebody will tweet out, or like some of these text messages or emails that he has between like employees and different folks will get leaked. And he's just such a no nonsense guy. Mm-hmm. He's just like, what have you gotten done? How much work have you like finished? This is not worth my time or attention. He actually was pitched this FTX guy recently, and he made a comment. He was like, oh, I was told this guy was worth like 3 billion liquid, and I don't buy it. And I didn't buy it. And my red flags came up. So this whole FTX guy, he was somebody was trying to broker an intro about how he really wants to work with you and this and that. And Elon was like, yeah, I don't fucking buy it. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. That, whatever reason people like to dunk on him, I think he's hilarious. Like, I think he's kind of the court jester that we all need, but he's also like a freaking genius. So
I've seen his prior emails to staff, and I tend to agree. He's very direct. He's a brilliant entrepreneur. I mean, like, one thing that I learned from him a long time ago was he had this email to his staff, and he was like, basically something along the lines of, if I give you direction, you either follow it, you provide me with a better solution, or you fuck off, basically. And I was like, that is fucking clear. Like, that is as clear as it gets. That's the way that you want to run things. None of this, let me address your whatever fucking woke new thing. So I found an article here that says, read Elon Musk's first email to all Twitter employees. Remote work over. Company needs subscriptions to subscribe downturn. Let's see what he has to say here. If there's a link here to it. Okay, here we go. From Elon Musk to team. Sorry, this is my first email to the whole company, but there is no way to sugarcoat the message. Frankly, the economic picture ahead is dire, especially for the company like ours that is so dependent on advertising in a challenging economic climate. Moreover, 70% of our advertising is brand rather than specific performance, which makes us doubly vulnerable. That is why the priority over the past 10 days has been to develop and launch Twitter Blue verified subscriptions. So he's getting $8 per subscriber on this, which is pretty clever. I mean, it's like Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, right? Without significant subscription revenue, there's a good chance Twitter will not survive the upcoming economic downturn. We need roughly half of our revenue. I'll be happy to give him $8. I don't give a fuck, Of course, we will then be significantly reliant on advertising. So I'm spending our time with our sales and partnerships teams to ensure that Twitter continues to be an appealing place to advertisers. This is in the Spaces discussion that Robin Yoel and I hosted today. Link to Q&A, advertising future removed. The road ahead is arduous and will require intense work to succeed. We're also changing Twitter's policy such that remote work is no longer allowed unless you have a specific exemption. So all these fucking guys that got comfortable working from home, they're basically not coming back. Managers will send the exception list for me for review and approval. So the exception list goes directly to the CEO of Twitter. Like, that's unheard of, right? Starting tomorrow, Thursday, everyone is required to be in the office for a minimum of 40 hours. Starting tomorrow.
1 day's notice.
That's such a troll notice. Like 1 day's notice, get your ass in the office.
He also apparently he called an all hands meeting within an hour notice. He just sent out a memo that was like, "Hey, everybody get to wherever." Hours, and then he was 15 minutes late. Which is
how
just
many of those guys? I wonder how many
a rock star.
Rhode Island.
Oh yeah, and he showed 15 minutes after the fact. Just so fun. And it's just,
you gotta love this guy. I mean, he's a plugged in beta when it comes to girls, right?
Is he though? Actually, doesn't he have a bunch of kids with a bunch of different women?
He does. He's actually had 10 children. Let me get to that in a second, though. Let me just finish reading this because I'm in the last paragraph. Yeah. Starting tomorrow, Thursday, everyone is required to be in the office for a minimum of 40 hours per week. Obviously, if you're physically unable to travel to an office or have a critical personal obligation, then your absence is understandable. I look forward to working with you to take Twitter as a whole new level. The potential is truly incredible. Thanks, Elon. So yeah, he's. I did a video a long time ago, a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, when what's his name? The dude that did The Game and The Truth About Relationships. Strauss. So Neil Strauss did an interview with him, I think for Rolling Stone magazine or GQ or something like that. And I kind of went through the article. It's on my channel somewhere, and kind of broke down what was going on because he was basically on the ground crying about a breakup with Amber Heard, because he was dating Amber Heard at the time, that psychopath that Johnny Depp just dealt with the last 12 months. Yeah, and there was a lot of clear evidence that he doesn't know how to deal with women or rejection, which is fine because you guys, dudes on the spectrum. He's a weapon when it comes to business. He's a weapon when it comes to solving big problems. He's a great entrepreneur. I fully respect him in that regard. Elon, if you're watching, if you want to hop on a call, I'm happy to chat with you. Just sort your fucking head out and square it away properly. But he's had 10 kids apparently. I think one of them he lost, either stillborn or shortly after birth. But he's reproduced 9-10 times with several women. And I think one of the most hilarious one was that lady that used to work for him. And I think it was simultaneously when Grimes was just like within the last 90 days of her giving birth to his second kid. Grimes, there's a fucking problem. Right there. Why would you get, I don't know. Hey, family, here's my chick Grimes, Grimes, this is everybody. Could you imagine that at Thanksgiving?
Did he have a kid with the cleaning lady?
No, he didn't. No, not yet.
Oh, that's Arnold.
Not yet anyway, but that's Arnold. Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. And somebody else we know.
Well, it's not surprising, right? I can't remember who I was talking to about this. Maybe it was on the last chat that we had where it's whether it was Kanye, I think we were talking about Kanye, but it's guys that are getting to this level of success and reaching this pinnacle, they got to be a little bit fucked up in the head. Like they have to be this way.
Yeah.
Otherwise it wouldn't, like that's what's enabling them to
Mhm.
get there, but which is also like having some hindrance in some other areas. So I mean, yeah, if he could just figure out the chick problem, dude, like he would be like a super soldier.
You know what I've noticed though about very, very successful men that have chick problems, which every guy does. I mean, look, if you don't have millions or billions of dollars, you know, giving away $1 million or $2 million, like half your net worth to a woman sucks. But if you're worth like 100 million, 50 million, $1 billion, giving them half of that doesn't really matter. Like if you're worth 50 million, you give away 25 mil, you're like, 25 mil kind of sucks. You know, it hurts a little bit, but I'll make it back. Right. Like even if they have like maintenance payments of $5, $10, $15, $25,000 a month, like if you've got the cash flow, it's not that big of a deal.
Like Jeff Bezos gave how much to his ex?
Yeah, like half to her,
400.
and she ended up marrying a teacher, and you know, shocking.
Richest woman ever.
Held on him too.
Yeah, and like shocking, like, you know, within 24 months of getting married to the guy, maybe it was like 15 months or something like that, she fucking divorced him. It's like, you know, women hate to marry down sort of thing. Like, oh,
Did the teacher take half the money? Because that would only be fair.
no, I think that was
I think they got a prenup.
yeah,
I'm
there's a
sure they
prenup in
did.
place.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe
One that
you
holds up.
She was.
got a free Amazon Prime subscription for life.
Yeah, but yeah, like I've noticed a lot of these guys that have like made serious bank. Like we even know guys in the community, like we've talked about divorces with some of the higher net worth guys, and they're like, yeah, it sucks, whatever, you know, you just make it back. Like you can always make more money back, but you can never make more time back.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you have kids with them, like their mindset, you know, seems to be like, okay, well, I got to make sure my kids are looked after and she's a good mom, whatever. So what, we didn't get along, or I banged the receptionist, who cares? You know, I'll just, you know, I'll give her what she needs. I'll just go and make the money back, sort of thing. So that seems to be the mindset of like these high net worth or ultra high net worth individuals, but it doesn't seem to transfer over if you're not in that sphere. Like the lower net worth guys seem to get destroyed worse, or they seem to hold on to like the pain a little bit longer because they're usually salaried guys, right? Like it's hard to make that big money back. Whereas if you've made big money, you know how to make it back pretty quickly. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
We have that joke in the community, which is, why is it so expensive to get divorced? Because it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm always curious at what point, because I think guys that have lower net worth, lower income, they'll have women problems, but it seems like guys that have extreme high levels of net worth also have women problems, but different women problems. Maybe they have too much abundance, or they're too heavily on the radar of some of these crazy chicks like the Amber Heard. I'm wondering if there's that perfect spot where you have the highest happiness in your female category, kind of like, what do they say? It's like $76,000 a year, to where after you make more than that, doesn't really make a difference in terms of your happiness level. I'm curious if there's a number for what the ideal income or net worth is for,
I don't know,
for the woman issue.
I don't know. I'd say that I'm more happy driving a McLaren than a BMW, but you know, that's just me.
You can't even get
Yeah.
I can.
grand.
Yeah.
You're driving a
I
Toyota.
have a bit of a word here. Like I just discussed this with somebody, that when you're kind of rich and people know that you are, either through crypto or whatever. I mean, speaking at my level, Elon Musk, you kind of become a target for all of these chicks that want to have your baby, that want to have one of your girlfriend. They're chasing you, right? I was on one of these lists that these chicks made as an eligible bachelor, right? So I was fucking this 20-year-old chick, and all of a sudden I asked, like, why has this been so easy? Like, it's easier than usual. Is it because of the age? Is it because I'm 35 or something? Oh no, you're on a list. Like, she just blurted it out. It was total admission, and this is just the way that things work.
What was
And
on the
I
list?
doubt-
Can you like recall the top 5 or 10?
Like people in Romania that are well off and that they're not crazy, you know, like aggressive or stuff like that. And I have another friend which is also on the list, and he knows about it, and it's funny as shit because it's like we talk about it and it's like, dude, this has gotten out of hand.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
hang on,
getting,
lost
getting
track.
back to what Jaron was saying, like the one case that always screws me up is like Arnold with his like he blew his whole life up for that cleaning lady.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
he
like
was
he's
married to
struggling-
basically a Kennedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
he had all the
like
money.
she never went back after that. Like there's a certain degree of embarrassment that like women won't tolerate. Like if it was kind of quiet and under the radar and it never really, you know, got exposed publicly, she would have probably just stuck with it and just looked the other way. But when he knocked up literally the most unattractive person that's also the cleaning lady in your house, that's got to be a big blow to her ego, and she had really no choice but to leave him, right?
But I don't get it because the guy had game. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Pumping Iron. The guy had game.
The pump is like coming.
Yeah, like he.
That's so funny.
I'm coming in the bedroom. I'm coming in the gym.
I think I know what happened. Like Arnold has been on gear.
That's what I was thinking. He runs so hot all the time.
Yeah, but when you're on gear, you can't get a girl pregnant. So I don't understand how.
Oh, you can.
Who told you that? Why?
Well,
I know plenty of bodybuilders who thought that, and they're like, "Oh, here's the surprise."
No,
I don't know if you guys have seen her. Let me see if I can find a picture.
I've been on TRT, and I used to be on a cruise, and I had 2 women get pregnant.
Okay, so I found a picture of the cleaning lady. This looks like a more recent picture, so probably not when he was smashing, but this is his.
Like what?
This is his.
Oh Lord!
Yeah,
I can guarantee you.
Yeah, that's her there.
That given enough trembolone, you will look odd at a fucking doorknob.
Let me see if I can find a.
But look at his son with her. It's like the most carbon copy
of him,
all his kids.
Yeah, he's.
Let me see if I can find a picture of her when they actually, did the deed, because I don't think that picture's completely fair to her because the kid's like 20 years old there. I'm just wondering if there's anything where she looks like, remotely okay.
I was gonna say, because sometimes you'll get a really cute cleaning lady come through where I live. I'm in Mexico City. Everyone has cleaning ladies. You have people that pretty much just serve you, and every now and then you'll get a real cutie that comes through. But this chick, I don't know. He must have been running hot.
So and that's when he was like in his peak movie star career, right? 20 years ago, whatever it was. Like he was like peak Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can give it to you in writing that given enough gear, you could get aroused by that.
I'm not finding anything here that does her better justice. So I think it's reasonable to say that what you see is what you get. But yeah, that would have been a huge blow to what's her name?
No, what is her name? Maria Shriver.
Maria Shriver. Yeah, that's it.
There's one of those days maybe he was stressed out, riled up, needed a quick release before he went on set or something. He's like, you'll do.
She must have. You know how women can come at you when they really want you. When they really want the seed. You know how they come at you, right?
Yeah.
She must have played some hardcore game on him for you'll be like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't talk about girl game a lot, but Amber Heard has it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It blows my mind because he could have anyone he wants and he picked that.
I don't think he picked her.
She's there. She was
I
there.
think it was a mercy fuck.
There, yeah.
Yeah, she was just there.
Yeah, I would imagine she probably chased him down for a bit, and he just folded. He's like, yeah, okay, fine.
Just bear wrestled them down. The greatest.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll kill the Arnold Schwarzenegger conversation.
Lost steam quick.
What else has been going on this week, guys, that you want to chop up? What's that, Dragos? You're about to say something.
Yeah, somebody that's very rich that I think has turned his life around in a meaningful way, in a positive way, is Jeff Bezos. Like he divorced and got jacked.
No, I think he was pretty jacked before he got divorced. He's been on therapeutic testosterone for probably about a decade. Like there's transformative pictures from his 30s to like his 40s, and he looks like a totally different guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he went for like Dirty Sanchez. Is kind of her nickname. Like for her age, she's attractive, but he could have done better if he wanted it.
Is that the chick that was all thirsty for Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, and that video clip where she's like got F me eyes, for Leo, and yeah.
Leo
could not even pay attention to her. He's not even looking at her.
He's like blah 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 blah, and he's like waving her off, and he sort of walks away. Yeah.
Yeah. Bezos needs to learn how to be a Leosexual.
Leosexual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I always find like billionaire game or billionaire relationship sort of, like clips to be fascinating, because it's like if you're a beta, money doesn't change beta mindset or like plugged in mindset. Some people would argue, well, Jeff Bezos isn't a beta, and clearly he's an alpha male when it comes to business, but I don't know, like, guys like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, I wouldn't call them, like unplugged alphas at all. They're kind of maybe halfway there, or maybe like a third of the way there, but they got work to do. But I don't think they really care, because they're like, fuck it, I got money to make. I got a yacht and a helicopter, and my fucking tender that goes to the yacht's bigger than 99% of people's boats anyway, so who cares?
Who do you think has it all together in that like billionaire status? But
they're mostly under the radar, like guys like Dan Bilzerian, the Tate brothers, I would say.
Putin.
I don't know enough about Putin, but I would imagine, he doesn't seem like a beta male to me. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think?
Gaddafi had it together.
Did you ever hear about until he got murdered?
Yeah. Got dragged through Tripoli.
Yeah, like his entire squad of like security was all women, right?
Yeah,
like hot women. Like he only put hot women in uniform to be part of his security detail, which is kind of dumb, because like one strong guy could take out 10 of them easily.
I think Arab dictator, that's a whole new level of game.
Yeah, well, I mean, like have you guys seen those threads with like these sultans and sheiks that hire OnlyFans thoughts to like come over there, and they do like the most disgusting things to them?
Dubai porta potty, yeah, that was a trending thing a while ago.
Yeah, like, bang my camel. Like, I'll pay you $40,000 and give you like a fucking credit card to go have some fun, but you have to bang my camel or some shit like that.
Rogan had the guy who wrote Sex at Dawn on. I can't remember the author's name.
I know who you're talking about.
And he said that in those regions, they'll pay like these hot chicks to handcuff them and force feed them bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very much the current thing.
Yeah.
Something from the past.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as being force-fed bacon? I feel like I do that voluntarily.
No, I had bacon for breakfast. Nobody needed to force feed me that shit. I'll fucking.
Oh yeah, you smell it sizzling. I'm out of bed. I'm ready.
Because it's against their like.
Yeah, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a slight suspicion it's not only bacon.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more to that equation.
Without going into details.
Yeah. So what else happened this week, guys? Oh, by the way, you fucking missed out on an awesome trip down to Baja with the off-road racing. It was a lot of fun. Vic and Charles and Gary were down, and we had a blast. But met up with a few of the old friends and a new dude that I've been talking to for the last 12 years. Who we had the same business coach. So shout out to Adrian. But I got 2 videos coming out in the next week. So one's just some highlights from the Baja off-road stuff that we were doing. And then the other one is I pretty much asked as many guys as I could, how did you make your $1 million, and what would be your best advice for upcoming entrepreneurs? And I got some pretty good answers. So I'm going to put all those together in clips, and I'll put that on the channel too. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, coming in this next year, my goal is to make a lot more of those trips. I make all the official 1% meetups, but some of the breakout ones, I want to just do more and more of that, which is why I got myself set up here, still on the minimalist budget. So very much looking forward to that. I've had a couple 1%ers come down here already too, which is really nice. That was kind of the goal.
Yeah, I know. Like, you guys have a meetup in Panama now. I think HG's with a bunch of them.
Yeah. There's there's gonna be 3 of us. We had the hurricane screwed up a lot of people's plans, but what's the burn rate like down there, Jaron, in Mexico?
Burn rate in what sense?
Like what? Like, you're saying you're like nomadic, like lean lifestyle. Like, is it a lot cheaper than the States? Like, significantly cheaper?
Yeah, it's considerably cheaper. I think it's probably cheaper than Panama too. I was in Panama for a bit this last summer because they still use the U.S. dollar, although they call it Balboa. El Salvador is the same way. It's third world country, but they use the U.S. dollar, so you have those issues. Here, the exchange rate it's 19.51 to 1, just round it up to 20 to do the simple math in your head. Drop 0, divide it by 2, and it's actually quite cheap. I'm paying now about $1,000 a month for a large 2-bedroom condo in the nicest neighborhood, and it has nice, beautiful view. Guys that come down, you probably see them there. They always share my view in their stories. And
how many square feet is it?
Oh, it's 110, 120 square meters is how they do it here.
What is it, 3.3 meters to, or is it 3.3 feet to a meter or something?
Yeah, it doesn't quite. Yeah, when you try to do the conversion, it doesn't quite come out, because if you just times it by 3, then that'd be like what, 300 and change.
It's 1,100 square feet.
That's what it feels like. Yeah, about 1,100.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, large. Well, I looked at other areas there are other apartments in the area, and they were kind of like California, New York apartments, considerably smaller. The bedrooms had weird shapes. You couldn't put a TV on the wall. And then I do the trick like I did when I went to college down here. You get on a bike and you go up and down the blocks and you take pictures of the banners up for rent, and then you call them and you do your spreadsheet. So I did a direct deal with the owner. That's usually how I rent apartments. So it usually saves me 20 or 30% no matter what market I'm in. I did that in California too. And my California rent, last place I was in, was $2,800 for probably 900 square feet, 2 bedrooms, super cramped. And that same place now, I believe, is going for $4,200 that I had before. So yeah, I'm spending a fraction of what I did. I go to California all the time still because flights to Tijuana are $50 each way. You walk across the CBX International Pedestrian Bridge and you're in San Diego. So it's actually cheaper for me to live and work in Mexico. And then when I want to go out in California, just fly up there and do it. And my lifestyle hasn't really changed. I go up there all the time still.
Yeah, the rental to property value rates in Mexico are off the chart, insane, positive.
They have like no property taxes too, which is nice. And utilities are dirt cheap.
Well, to put it in perspective, so I just sold a condo down in Corktown, which is like downtown Toronto's Distillery District. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like it's a nice area, right? And it was about 590 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 880, I think is what I got for it. And it only generated $28.50. Sorry, it was generating $29.50 a month rent before the pandemic. During the pandemic, it went down $200 to $27.50. So not very good, right? I mean, like generally speaking, you want about 1% of the property value monthly for income, which is what you can get in most states. Down in Mexico, a buddy of mine's killing it in the villa market. And he started this about 3 years ago. He's been buying up properties for $250, like nice villas, from scratch, like building it, doing the architectural, design and, putting it together. And he's putting on like Airbnbs, and he's generating, I think he said $100,000 USD per year in income off a $250,000 property.
Wow.
Now,
damn.
Not just that, but the property values have doubled for him too, as well in the last 3 years. So, we were talking about some potential super villas down there that I might get involved with, but Mexico has got wicked opportunities right now, and should definitely be looked at. I mean, there's no reason to put your money in the Canadian real estate market the way things are here, where the fucking rates are kind of shit. But like Mexico is very appealing to me too.
Yeah, it's the place to go right now. Everyone's coming down here, and to the point where Mexicans are getting mad because we're starting to price them out of the nicer areas, or just like in the U.S., gentrification. So an area that's not so nice, it becomes gentrified, and then they want to move there, but they're priced out of the market. So the same thing's happening here.
Yeah, and that Cabo Peninsula, like Baja California, is a really nice area too. Like Todos Santos is like a nice kind of like chill bohemian sort of town. The problem is there's no airport. La Paz is really nice. Cabo's super. I mean, you can do anything in Cabo. I've got a couple friends that live down there permanently now, and they just love it, man. Like, yeah, it's hot in July, August, and September, but I mean, you can stay or you can just fly out of town for a little bit and come back if you want. But aside from that, like, guys love it there, from what I've seen.
Yeah, Jaron, I think I might come visit you. Like, I like Panama, but it's definitely it's not that much cheaper than Canada and the US. Like I think
I like Mexico better than Panama. I used to really enjoy Panama back in the day, like 2006, 2008 time frame. I was there a lot, but I went this last summer for the first time since then, and I actually prefer Mexico over Panama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I got a 700 square foot condo here, and it was still $2,000 a month rent. So it's better than Toronto, but it's not like that, like what you're getting.
Well, Panama, for the canal zone, everything's a bit overpriced. You have all those Chinese investors there, and half the buildings are empty because they're just office fronts, or people are laundering money through there. So it's still a bit overpriced. The city's pretty quiet at night, but you see all these high-rise buildings. It looks almost like San Diego, but there's way more high-rise buildings, but they're all empty. It's kind of an interesting place.
Yeah, when you go into the old town and you go to a bar where you have a view and you look into the city, it's like most of the buildings are blacked out.
Yeah,
like you think that light would be on because they're at home, but it's like completely blacked out.
They're all like Chinese investors that just buy them up, from apparently what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, is what it is, man. It's pretty sweet. I I think it'd be cool to have a super villa with a cenote in the backyard and generating 100, 200 grand a year in annual revenue.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that anywhere else.
Do you have
in the Eastern
Do you have
Standard
any kind
Time
of
Zone?
pictures or something regarding that?
Yeah, I can. I'll send you some Dragos on the Signal chat that we're in, just so you can get an idea, and I'll tell you where the area is. But I don't want to make it public just because I don't want to drive too much attention to it until I get in.
Considering the market and the opportunity that's just coming around, I wouldn't buy anything else except crypto.
Yeah, I'm big on crypto. You already know that. It's on sale, and it's going to continue to be on sale for a little while, I think. When's the next halving? It's 2024.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little bit of sideways action and some slight upwards action, I think, for the next 6 to 12 months. But by the time we hit 2024, I think that's going to be the next bull run.
Yeah. Also, because of the way that things have moved, in the sense that there's a lot more institutional adoption, and it's been opening up to the masses. Right? Like investment funds or bank clients will now be able to custody the Bitcoin with banks, which gives you like a lot more exposure, right? Up until this year, I think Bitcoin and crypto was kind of a niche product. I don't think it went past 5% of the world population using it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to see a lot more institutional money and big names throwing big bucks into it because it's, like I said, it's cheap, right? I mean, people are looking for something to make on their money, and this is a good opportunity right now in the next year.
And this is why I don't think it's going to go much lower than 10, 11. And also, what I think is that because the institutional money coming in, they're going to sell early, which means that very big increases in price are going to be much harder. Like if an institutional does a 10x, then they're gonna sell, and that's not the way it works anyway. They have a proportion of the total portfolio they have an allocation for, and as it increases, they sell.
So if you guys have any topics or questions you want us to hit on before we bounce, we'll probably be on for another 15 minutes or so. Just drop them in the chat.
Rich, I have one that we. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Well, whatever.
Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, we can tie them in actually, because I'm sure that one will come up. In the forum, in the Top 1% forum, we had a thread open up this week, and I thought it was really interesting in terms of based on the U.S. midterm election results. Everyone was talking red wave. Well, that kind of fell flat on its face. Wasn't really getting the results that people were hoping or hyping up. And the thread topic came up in the 1% forum was that, well, now that it's very clear that the world is not going to awake anytime soon, that it's going to more towards the woke side of things, how do people in the know, how do top 1% type guys that want to get ahead in life, guys that want to unplug, how do we take advantage of this from a capitalization standpoint? And I thought that was a really interesting thread. And I'm sure we can tie the war into it just based on any global trends, but guys like us, we've already alluded to it. A lot of guys going abroad, a lot of guys doing interesting things, getting into alternative type investment vehicles. How does the average guy go about taking advantage of the fact that most people are plugged in and they're pretty satisfied with that?
I think, to sort of expand on that, a little bit, and I want to hear from the rest of you guys too. It's been obvious to me that the trend is more wokeness, more inclusivity, more pacification of the West.
ESG.
People are constantly asking me, hey, why don't you move down to the States? Why don't you move down to a freedom loving place like Texas or Florida, sort of thing? And I'm like, that's an interesting concept, even if I could, and I didn't have a kid to finish raising, but I don't see the US as being that much better than Canada. I just see it as a few years behind Canada. I know that there's certain advantages to, like places like, Texas can just leave the union, whatever, sort of thing. But I know that certain states are better than others, but the general trend seems to be that voting patterns go more for wokeness. I mean, the Democrats grabbed another seat, didn't they?
And they converted Arizona over, which I never thought would have happened being there.
Okay. So to me, that's just an obvious sign. I mean, look at what people vote for. Look at what government looks like. Is government getting bigger? Is it going to tax you more? Is it going to cram more wokeness down your throat? Then I don't think that North America is the answer. I think you got to look elsewhere and look for places that don't bend the knee to that narrative and have low tax rates. I mean, look, at the end of the day, money solves just about any problem. So make bank, like get rich, because you can solve a lot of problems when you have money. You can move to places. You can, even if you can't, get citizenship, you can buy your way in. You can buy real estate to get a passport. You can just buy a passport. You can set yourself up in such a way that your tax obligations go down if you incorporate yourself in a country that's more friendly. Like my buddy that I was talking to, that's going on about the real estate market in Mexico and how much money he's making. He's actually got himself incorporated in Barbados, and he's paying like 2 or 3%. So, I mean, you have to look at those opportunities, but at the end of the day, if you don't have money, you're not going to solve that problem if you're a corporate slave, right? So, I mean, like, you want to get out of the system, you want to unplug from the matrix and essentially become an entrepreneur. That's not for everybody. Not everybody can do it. Many guys will be left behind, but that's essentially what you got to do. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I designed my School of Entrepreneurship, which, shameless plug, by the way, is going to open up again next month. But it informs you on the mindset that you need to set yourself up in such a way that you can say, okay, I'm done with this bullshit and I'm going to move somewhere else, and I'm going to have location independent income, and that's how I'm going to run my life. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think?
I think there's a unique opportunity now, especially for people who live in Toronto or Vancouver or New York, any of those cities, is you have people who maybe are in their 50s who have been corporate slaves, but their house value is 5x or 6x or whatever, where they could sell it and have more than enough money to live for a while and figure stuff out. But I feel like they're not thinking that way because they've just done the 9 to 5, put their down payment down, paid off their mortgage. But where their $300,000 house is now worth $2 million, that's $1.7 million of profit, where they could take that and build something in Mexico or Panama or wherever else. But
or go to places like Montana and turn an entire district blue, which they're not happy about.
Gary was telling me all about Montana. He said, like, it sounds like a cool place to live. Like, the entire population's less than 1 million, but again, it's just a matter of time with people moving into that state from the other states that they're trying to get away from the bullshit, and they still bring the bullshit along with them, where it's going to turn blue. Right?
Arizona, it's like when I was there for quite a lot this year, there's a lot of Republican type thinking people when you go out, but somehow that state converted to they just elected a Democratic governor.
Well, that sort of thinking is like cancer, and it's always the big cities that vote more left than the people that live in the rural areas. And the big city, like, cancer spreads, right? Like, it moves from mind to mind to mind, sort of thing. And when you have like a dense population of people living in one area, and we already know that it's mostly women, unmarried women, and soy boys that not marry, but vote left, like, they're going to congregate in an area, and that idea is going to spread around, and more, at each election we'll start voting for more of that, because cities suck in a lot of people, for jobs, because they're easy to commute in and out of, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. So it's just an inevitable sort of thing that's going to happen, I think. So until large cities start voting for more freedom, for lower taxes, for less inclusivity and wokeness crammed down your throat, it's going to keep going that way. So what are you going to do? It's like, you can either suck it up, buttercup sort of thing, and work around it, or you can leave.
Like here's an example. I don't know how true this is, but right after the election, I saw a tweet from like a more right-wing person I follow, where they actually pulled back on getting rid of student debt. So it's like they ran on this platform, we're going to get rid of student debt. Then it's like they got their votes. So like, oh, actually, we can't do it. It's against the Constitution. And it's like, how many of these things do we need for people to actually start waking up? But Canada really disheartened me. I thought for sure Canadians would be waking up, but now I'm hearing that they're even thinking of bringing back mass mandates to Ontario, and most people want it. And they're okay just to go back into that cycle that they've been in for the past 3 years.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if Trudeau is still prime minister in the next election. Like, everybody's like, oh, they're going to vote him out. They're going to boot him out because of what he did, and the truckers, and, the stupid mandates and all that sort of stuff. I would not be surprised if he remains prime minister. I would not.
They'll bring up a new hot topic to distract the masses, and they'll forget all about it. People have really short-term memories these days.
It's pretty stupid. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moff, what do you think, bro?
Somebody moved from a very, very blue state to a very red state. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Like, you can only run for so long. I think we were all kind of surprised. It's so funny what will rally and unite people, especially like the left and like the woke people. It's not about them winning. It's about them making sure the other side loses. Like, they're just doing it to be blockers. They're doing it to be, like, oh, we don't want to see other people win and get their way. They're not fighting for any change. They're not fighting for anything positive. It's all about shutting other people down and making sure the other narrative doesn't achieve its goals or whatever it is. I'm all for states' rights, and I think this is what set the Roe v. Wade arguments so through the roof, is that most people are idiots and they don't actually know what's being argued, and they don't know the context of the argument that's being brought about. I don't understand how it makes sense for somebody who I never voted for, never supported, never gave money to, that doesn't live in the same state that I live in, to be able to tell me what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. Like, I moved to a place where I can align with the people that think the way that I think and that align with the beliefs and policies that I want to have in place. And for someone, in a place that I never supported or voted for, to be able to have a say over me is just insane.
Do you get frustrated with Florida ever? Like, is it what you thought it would be moving from New York down to Florida, or is it kind of like letting you down a bit?
No, so far it's been fine. I mean, there's a ton of transplants. Like, everybody from Florida is from New York. It's what's really funny about it. But it's the types of people that I'm dealing with are generally people that are non-woke. The vast majority did not take the jab. The vast majority are not Biden fans. I would say it's kind of, they kind of look at me like I have four heads when I tell them the stories about COVID in New York and what I had to go through and being locked in the house, because they're like, yeah, we were shut down for 2 weeks and then we were free for the last 2 years. Like, they didn't experience anything like I'd experienced up in New York. So, it's a completely different world down here.
What's interesting? Like, because I went from Canada to Florida for a while, so many Floridians were plugged into like the anti-Trudeau stuff. Like, they knew more than a lot of Canadians knew about like what he was doing. That everyone was like, "Oh, I love the truckers from here. We were supporting them. That guy's a communist. He's a dictator. He's Fidel Castro's son." Like, they're all plugged into that stuff. And Canadians who are living in Canada, they don't even pay attention to the same way that the Floridians were.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I just want to grab this question real quick. Says, anyone think Bitcoin et al. Is just an on-ramp for CBDCs? Look, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, is what that stands for, are coming. The central banks are going to use them. They're going to force them on the population because it's programmable money that they can program and control. They can control where you can spend it. They can control if its value, disappears after 2 weeks if you don't spend it soon enough. They'll know exactly what you buy with the money because it's on the blockchain. So if you don't know about CBDCs, you can look it up. You can do some Googling to understand it. But I mean, I don't know, like, is Bitcoin an on-ramp for CBDCs? Maybe, but it's not the same thing. Like, the whole point of Bitcoin, the white paper was permissionless money, essentially. Like, it's money that's permissionless, that anybody can access from anywhere in the world. That's, for the most part, relatively anon, even though it's a public ledger on the blockchain. But CBDCs will be produced by central governments to hand out to the population, and you're going to be handing back your paper money. Like, cash paper money that we have today, I think will be gone in the next decade. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think?
I think foreign countries will still use the cash, that have it as their reserve currency, as their primary currency. I had something happen recently. I was trying to order, I got a new air fryer from Walmart so I can make like crunchy Mexican street food, but a healthy version of it. And they ran my card something like 7 or 8 times. So I just called the bank. Hey, 7 of these 8 transactions are invalid. They're all replicates of each other. Go ahead and let the 8th one go through because I already have the air fryer. I don't want to burn the merchant. And since then, my bank has been denying not only every charge, but every deposit. So I'm in a position where I'm just like, great, going back and forth. And of course, on the Mexico side, that kicks off late fees and surcharges and inconvenience fees and all that sort of crap. So in terms of, I always have a rule when I travel abroad, because I've had emergencies in the past, where I keep a decent amount of cash on me just to where I can get home. Say worst case scenario, we had a pretty nasty earthquake a couple months ago. If the building tumbles, I've got it all in a bag. I can throw it over my shoulder. I can get to an airport, get on a plane. It's in US dollars and I have local currency, and you can get the hell out of Dodge if you need to. But that reminded me the little issue, and it was nothing crazy. That happens, especially when you live abroad. You'll have banking issues from time to time. But it reminds me that, kind of like the Kanye thing, at any point, these banks or these digital currency management services, whatever the hell you want to call them, they can just cut you off. So you got to keep that in mind. It's actually kind of a scary proposition if you think about it.
Yeah, because they even went as deep
I
as
think,
didn't they
Yeah,
cut
go
off
ahead.
this Uber and all that stuff too? Like it was like a coordinated attack. They can do that to you.
Yeah, when they cancel you everywhere. They cancel your payment processing. They cancel you on social media. They cancel your Airbnb, your Uber, and everything. Like, they cancel everything, right? Dragos?
Yeah, some crypto can be seen as digital cash. Like cash, you cannot stop it once it's in your hand. You have to physically take it away from you.
Mm.
And Bitcoin doesn't have master keys, doesn't have any type of mechanism to stop it or thwart it. You can either stop it at its destination or from its source. You can stop the person sending it, or you can stop the person from that receives it from turning it into something else valuable, right? But obviously that's harder to do. And what they're aiming to do is have programmable money. Like they can, like what's happening now with USDT. If you've followed FTX hack, they have frozen some USDT in its wallet, and
That's
the wallet
Tether, right?
that was holding, yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Circle, and I think the only one that does not have this kind of utility is DAI.
Yeah.
Ethereum doesn't have it. They can only blacklist some addresses, in the sense that any U.S. citizen or institution or entity that's doing business with that particular address has a lot of grief. But then there's the rest of the world that you can do business with.
Ernesto's in the chat. He was just asking here, do you think they'll ban precious metals used by individuals in lieu of currency? And historically speaking, we've seen the government recall gold, right? Like, you weren't allowed to use it. But I'd like to see them take my fucking precious metal. They can fucking EAD, as far as I'm concerned. But I'll let you guys figure out what that is. Probably got to start wrapping it up, man. It was a fun chat. Covered a lot of stuff, especially outside or away from women, which shout out to Brian, although he didn't come on today, did he? And Jaren's back. So heads up, Monday night, I'm back for the Unplugged Alphas episodes. I was going to do it on a little bit of biohacking around improving your sleep, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to have to watch the Daily Wire special that Jordan Peterson did on A Case for Marriage. Apparently he's got a 3-part series on trying to encourage you guys out there to man up and get married, because it's a good idea. So you guys know me. I have a chapter in my book on why smart men don't marry. So I'm going to go watch it, see if he changes my mind, and offer some commentary on that 3-part special. So I'm going to have to do some homework this weekend. Find Jaren on YouTube and Instagram, Moff on Instagram and Stereo. Do you guys want to shout out HG and Dragos on your social, or do you want to keep it
no, not yet.
down low? Okay, so keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
All right.
Join the group if you want access to them. There we go.
Yeah, if you want to look, guys, if you want to hop in the community, where's my link down here?
Can I actually share? So, I met up with a couple of the members. Well, one of them last night, and it's such a valuable asset to have, to be part of this community, because you're surrounded by like-minded guys. You could be anywhere in the world. You're probably going to know someone there. And it's just such an improvement to your life. Like, shameless shout out to the group, but I was thinking we went out last night till like 2 a.m. We seemed like the best of friends. We just met the first night, and it's like, it changes your whole experience no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a solid network. Even internationally, there's a lot
Yes.
of guys. I have guys coming through town all the time, and no matter what country I go to in Latin America, there's always someone, even if they're not in the group, they'll be like, hey, I've heard about the group, or I've seen you on Rich's show. They'll hit me up. Let's get a drink. And they end up being like-minded guys. It's definitely paid dividends.
Like Moff and I went out once when I was down in Tampa, and it was like, it felt like I knew the guy forever. You just meet him, but you're in the group. It's like you're so like-minded. It's just natural. And then, when you do it together.
Yeah, the ticker's down there. It's pinned in the top description. There's 2 tiers. There's one tier that Moff and Jaron run, which is called the 10%. And you'll have the opportunity to move from that tier to the top 1% and have your admission fee applied to the admission to the 1% if and when you decide to do that. So, I mean, if you guys are looking for like-minded men to chop it up with and chill around, this is just a very, very tiny percentage of the dudes in the group. Again, most of them want to stay off the radar, keep an on because of the work they're doing. They do high-level shit, so it is what it is. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe, got the notification bell hit if you want to know when the next show comes up. I try to do them as many Saturdays as I can, but it's not always feasible. But keep an eye out, and I'll see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out. Have an awesome weekend.